Okay, guys, welcome back to Real Reactions. I'm not usually going to be doing reactions about politics, but kind of had to because it doesn't get any realer than this. It's trending, it's hot, it's now. And when I first heard this, I really couldn't believe it. When my friend told me that Kamala was going on Fox News, I was like, no, that's sending a lamb into the lion's den. But I will give her credit. She did it, even though I don't feel good about this for her. But I mean, hey.
Vice President, thank you for the time.
Thank you. It's good to be with you, Brett.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election. And
this is what I really hoped they were going to bring up.
specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Are we finally going to get an answer? Because she's always skirting around the question. And it's not just her, it's all Democrats. They skirt around the question. We just want a definitive answer because you get answers. He said a lot lower of the estimate I've heard. He said 2, 3, 4 million. I've heard in excess of 10. So,
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And you know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you
now,
just a number? Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point
is to answer the question. But, I mean, what do they call it? Word salad? She's not going to answer the question. We knew this from the get-go. I was hoping if someone nailed her to the wall and just asked her straight out. But she still won't answer it.
is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
So your Homeland Security Secretary said that 85% of apprehensions.
I'm not finished. We have
It's a
an
rough estimate
immigration
of 6
system
million people
that
have been
needs to be
released.
Answer the
country.
question.
Included in those were a large number of single men, adult men, who went on to commit heinous crimes. So, looking back, do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
She's not going to answer that. She's not going to answer that.
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress,
oh God, see?
Before we worked on infrastructure, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
I've lost any hope in getting any answers from this lady. You're just not going to get any direct, straight answers. You got so many people asking her direct questions where it's yes, no, what are you going to do? And she either rearranges the question to make it an answer, or she just says one of these statements that she's clearly looked at and studied for a while. We're not going to get any answers. Whether you're a Trump supporter, Republican, Democrat, it really doesn't matter. Please don't vote because you're white, you're black. Don't vote on identity politics. Vote for the issues and what's going to make the country better, please.
Essentially, a pathway to citizenship for the.
Yes, may I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish.
Are you going to answer the question?
In the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
All 3 branches, but nothing. But nothing.
Responding to the point you're raising, and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Jocelyn Mungary, Rachel Morin, Lakin, young women. Who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it would have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you,
God, here we go.
Families an apology.
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced.
Well, say sorry.
For a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months. We would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about
Beckett messing with Donald Trump.
I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the...
That really gets to me. I have nieces and female cousins, and that really, really, really gets to me.
So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I'm so sorry for her loss.
You don't look like it.
Sincerely.
Don't look like it.
But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well. In all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said...
Well, then take some accountability and stop blaming Trump.
When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before.
When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
Oh my God. All she had to do was say, yes, I still support it. No, I don't support it.
This is a time when voters, especially here in Pennsylvania, are inundated with commercials and ads. They just want it to stop because it's every commercial. But many of them add noise, but a few of them seem to break through. This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Oh, yes.
For prisoners. Yeah. For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed.
I need y'all to answer this question for me. If you say something in the past, and you're supposed to have integrity, and you say something in the past, and then you get in somebody's face, and you refuse to answer the question, especially with the same rhetoric you used before, are you an honest person? In one interview, you say this, and now that you realize, dang, this might cook me, let me change the answer. What is worse, changing the answer and trying to get the American people or whoever your target audience is to believe you now that you've changed, or just stick to your guns? Because personally, I think, good or bad, you should stick to your guns. But I want you guys to tell me what you think.
You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available on a medical necessity basis.
You notice how she just light up when she get ready? She's sitting there. I feel so bad for those parents. I get it. They need support. but Donald Trump, he did this. Like, why are you lighting up every time you're trying to throw Trump to the fire? I think right now, instead of talking about the issues, talking about Donald Trump is literally a Trump card. Every time she brings up Trump, it irks me. We're trying to get to know you.
To people in the federal prison system. And I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that
I don't believe Trump didn't give money.
And no gender transition
well,
surgeries
you know what? You got to take responsible for what happened in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his presidency.
It's in black and white.
Would you still advocate for using taxpayer dollars for gender reassessment surgeries?
I will follow the law.
Oh my God!
I think so.
Excuse me.
You would have a say as president.
Like I said, I think it's real. He spent $20 million on those ads.
Now, how does she? Oh my God! If he did, so what is his ad? If he did, so what is his ad? What are you trying to say?
Trying to create a sense of fear in the voters because he actually has no plan in this election that is about focusing on the needs of the American people.
Well, what's your plan instead of blaming him?
Why do you think more people say they trust him on the economy than they trust you?
I think that when you look at an analysis of our plans for what we would do as President of the United States, it has been clear to those who study and understand how economic policy works that moving forward, because I do believe the American people are ready to turn the page on the divisiveness and the type of rhetoric that has come out of Donald Trump. People are ready to chart a new way forward, and they want a president who has a plan for the future and a plan that is sound and will strengthen our country. My plan for the economy does exactly that. His plan would be, again, to give tax cuts to billionaires and the biggest corporations in our country and blow up our deficit.
So, you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you...
Look, arms crossed again. You see that? Defensive.
My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
How will it be different?
And addressing the issue of small businesses, which is about working with the private sector to bring more capital and access to capital to our small business leaders, including my plan for a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and for small businesses, extending the tax deduction from $5,000 to $50,000.
Where is all this money coming from?
Turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other. Rhetoric and an approach to leadership that suggests that the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down instead of what we all know. The strength of leadership is based on who you lift up.
But how many times has she pointed the finger at Donald Trump since she's been on this interview? Like, come on.
Strength of an American president, which is one who understands that the vast majority of us have more in common than what separates us.
Madam Vice President, more than 70% of people
that is about turning the page on rhetoric that people are frankly exhausted of, Brett.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track...
I mean the 79.
That track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been
oh my God.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Oh my God.
You both know what I'm talking about.
This is so crazy. It is almost funny. Like, oh God. Donald Trump has really, literally destroyed everything. I mean, that's what they want you to believe. What does Donald Trump running for office have to do what you and Joe Biden have not done? If Donald Trump has some way inhibited you guys from doing your job because he lives rent-free in your head, why should we trust you to run the country? If you let Donald Trump get to you this much, Why should the American people trust you with anything? I mean, honestly, man, oh my God. Honestly, I don't think I would hire this woman to train my dog.
Both know what I'm talking
I actually
about.
don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lover of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me, the former chief of staff to the president, Donald Trump, former defense secretaries, national security advisor, and his vice president. One, that he is unfit to serve, that he is unstable, that he is dangerous, and that people are exhausted with someone who professes to be a leader who spends full time demeaning and engaging in personal grievances and it being about him
Madam
instead
Vice
of
President,
the American people.
if
People
that's the
are
case,
tired of that.
If that's the case, why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a cakewalk for anyone.
So are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
We asked that question to the former president today. Harris Faulkner had a town hall, and this is how he responded.
I heard about that. They were saying I was like threatening. I'm not threatening anybody. They're the ones doing the threatening. They do phony investigations. I've been investigated more than Alphonse Capone. He was the greatest gangster. No, it's true. We got to think of it. It's called weaponization of government. It's a terrible thing.
So,
Brett, I'm sorry, and with all due respect, that clip was not what he has been saying about the enemy within that he has repeated when he's speaking about the American people. That's not what you just showed.
he was asked about that specific...
No, that's not what you just showed. In all fairness and respect to you,
that was the question that we asked him.
You didn't show that, and here's the bottom line. He has repeated it many times, and you and I both know that. And you and I both know that he has talked about turning the American military on the American people. He has talked about going after people who are engaged in peaceful protest. He has talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy. And in a democracy, the president of the United States of America should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it. I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Madam Vice President, they're rapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump. There are a lot of things.
That's all it's been about.
Look at
it. Oh my God. Please end it. End it.
And that's why
I invite everyone to go to KamalaHarris.com, and you will see that
Y'all, seriously. Seriously, y'all. Seriously. She had the stage. She had the floor for her policies. But she spent the time talking about Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did that. It was very, very, very immature, playground-esque to me.
have 80 pages of policies that are quite comprehensive and should be accessible to anyone who would like to read them. And it includes what I intend to do about affordable housing, what I intend to do about small businesses, what I do
And that's why we invited you here.
Thank you.
See where you were in 2019.
Exactly.
America's military, and ensure we have the most lethal and best fighting force in the world.
Madam Vice President,
And
they're giving me a hard rap
well,
here.
I thank you for the time.
I thank you for the time.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was horrible. I think she did a horrible job. My God. Man, look. Y'all comment, like, subscribe. If y'all want me to do more political videos while the election is coming, I'll do it. I will be getting to Teen Wolf soon. I will be getting to my Halloween reaction soon. It's just some red tape that I have to cross. I mean, if you know about reaction videos. But guys, tell me what you thought about this. I think this was an epic failure. She should not have done this interview. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.